Know that she had an older gentleman at the time, or was it a surprise to you when you saw the pictures?
It's a loaded question. I don't think she had anything. I think that was just she's a young, pretty girl, and I think that we don't think that the toads that we may kiss is going to be like broadcasting the thing. And I personally feel a little bit like she was set up, which is why I try to teach the girls, right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's definitely an age dynamic there, and I just feel like, nah. I feel like she was set up a little bit.
Did you feel a little bit embarrassed by it, or were you like, it is what it is? What were your thoughts?
Probably both. I probably was a little bit embarrassed, but you know me, I'm definitely like, it is what it is, honey. Come on home, let's go. Mama's got your back.
So did
he
Dad
ain't coming?
So did Dad or you up her monthly allowance?
Is non-existent. No.
So no up an allowance?
I do the allowance, and no, it hasn't been up.
Kamora girl. Kamora girl. Hold on now, Kamora. So basically, TMZ caught up with Kimora Lee Simmons as Kimora Lee, okay, as she was coming out of somewhere. I have no idea. And they decided to ask her about the whole entire situation that happened with Aoki Lee Simmons, with her whole sugar daddy spiel and what happened, when it went viral on the internet and how she felt about it or whatever the case is. And, Kamora decided to say in this interview that she was embarrassed and a little bit humiliated about this situation. And then she tried to say, I feel as though she was kind of set up. I thought that was interesting that she used the word set up when Aoki is not only 21 years old, but nobody on the internet would have known about that relationship, situationship, sugar daddy ship that Aoki Lee had if Aoki did not post it on the internet herself. You see, it's so interesting how women will go to any extent to kind of blame men for doing things or try to point the finger at somebody else or deflect the blame onto someone else, especially when it's a bad reflection on them. But when we have the proof in the pudding, it's just very interesting to see that narrative still try to fly. Because, again, Aoki was the one on live stream. And she also was the one who, had a conversation with her father, who Kimora is saying is non-existent. The live stream of her speaking to her father, talking about how she was going to go and get a sugar daddy, is on the internet for us all to see. In fact, I'll insert a clip.
Don't raise my budget, I'm gonna get a sugar daddy. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
What did you say?
Nothing. Okay.
But it's very interesting that Kamora would try to say, before we even get into what she said about Russell Simmons, that, she feels like she was set up and, she wasn't in nothing. And, she feels like basically she's trying to say that the man manipulated her based off of his age and him being older than her, when it was very intentional from Aoki. There was nothing strange about it. It wasn't weird. There was no kind of vibes of what the situation was or, why she was interacting with this man. It was very obvious from the beginning. She stated her claim. They're in the car driving down the road and she's pointing to Bulgari and Hermes and all of these stores. And just because she ended up getting a, what was that dessert that she ended up getting? The little pancake thing, just because she ended up getting food instead of bags out of the trip, I believe that's the whole reason why it ended up turning into something different. And when she got back home, she was instructed to break up with him. Because if everybody was glorifying the situation on the media, if nobody was pointing the finger and saying Aoki is doing this because of her mother or because of the things that she's seen, if everything was coming back to Kamora and inflating her ego and making it seem as though, Aoki did nothing wrong and nobody had anything negative to say, I don't believe that she would have said in this particular interview that she was humiliated or embarrassed by the thing at all. I think she would have just let it fly, let it be what it is, and continued on her merry way. She wouldn't have intervened. She wouldn't have said that, she was set up. She wouldn't have, tried to allude to the fact that it's because this man was older and that he kind of took advantage of her. There would be none of that. Aoki is a very intelligent young girl. She's in Harvard. Okay? And I say it all the time. I don't know, what kind of Harvard. I don't know if it's based off of academics or if it's based off of, they know her daddy and her mama. I have no idea. Okay? I really don't know. All I'm saying is that she's obviously intelligent enough to make positive decisions. I thought it was interesting that Kamora decided to say within this conversation that, that basically Aoki doesn't have a dad because he is non-existent. And, she is the only person who would be giving allowance, and that's it. Again, if we watch the video of what Russell and Aoki were talking about, he stated that he gives her an allowance. That's what he said. Aoki did not say that it wasn't true. She did not proclaim it to be a lie. She didn't say that never happened. She didn't say that her mother was the only person who was, giving her any finances. She never said that or cleared that up when she was talking directly to her father. That was something that was never stated. And it was very clear within that conversation, again, that Aoki told her dad, if you do not raise my allowance, I'm going to go get a sugar daddy. So was the setup then? Is that when the setup took place? Is that when the man being at, an older age, is that when that came into play? Was it all the way back then when she had that conversation with her father before there was any inclination that she was even involved with the sugar daddy yet? Is that when the setup took place? Because I'm confused. I think it's very distasteful that, regardless of the situation or the relationship that you have with your child's father, that you would go on to and do a public interview and say that her father is non-existent, regardless of the relationship that the two of you have, and try to paint the picture that you are and have always been the only parent that has ever done anything for these children. I think that is distasteful, to say the least. Regardless of where the relationship is now, these kids are grown. And to be honest, there's a lot of spaces that these kids are allowed in, or a lot of privileges that they are allowed to partake in because of their last name. So even if he is not maybe physically a part of whatever situation, even if at this point he is no longer supplying any kind of finances, just the last name alone will lead to or provide so many different opportunities for these same children while you are sitting here in the interview talking about how he is non-existent. It's interesting because if Russell Simmons was talking about his children and he said in an interview in passing that Kamora Lee Simmons was non-existent, the internet would be in an uproar. Oh, this is crazy. I can't believe he said that. How dare he? That's their mother. It's very hypocritical. But because we know that, the majority of society does not value fathers as real parents. They're the secondary parent. They're the if all else fails parent. We've seen many times that even a father will, a woman will return her child to the state or offer the child up to the state because she no longer wants to take care of them. And we've seen numerous occasions where the father will go and try to get full custody, and the state will have to see if he's allowed to get custody because they believe that the state is better hands than even the child's own actual biological father. So because of that, that's why she is able or feels comfortable to say, oh, he's not existent. Oh, he doesn't matter. It's me. I'm the one. I do everything. What I notice is that a lot of single mothers have a hard time allowing their children to have any kind of certain relationship dynamic with their fathers, not because of the fact that the men are so awful or so terrible or they're trying to protect their children, but because it will go against the narrative that they're trying to push of being the single mother who can do all and who can be all. And, I'm the single mother. I'm the best. Hear me roar. They would rather sever the relationships. They would rather disrespect the man on a constant basis. They would rather do all the above, because if I say that he's a good man and if I allow him to, participate in certain things, or if I involve him in the growth of my children, then I can't turn around whenever he pisses me off and talk about how bad he is and degrade him. I won't be able to do that. So since I want to be able to do that, I have to come in between the relationship and put myself at the center. I have to make it seem as though I am the one, I am the best, I am above all, I am the decision maker, and that he is quote unquote non-existent. And then we wonder, with that kind of mindset or with that kind of behavior, why Aoki is going for this older man to be her quote unquote sugar daddy. Everybody was blaming Russell. I find that interesting. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.